Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining us on Business Incorporated, coming to you live from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm Chimezie Obi Iwago. Coming up, the International Monetary Fund approves the completion of the first review of Kenya's economic program, supported by the standby arrangement and the standby credit facility. S&P says South Africa's sovereign credit rating could come under pressure if the country's economic growth and fiscal performance do not improve. Plus, Ghana's producer price inflation falls sharply to 4.9% year-on-year in December. Now let's get started, and we're starting off here in Africa. The Board of International Monetary Fund has approved the completion of the first review of Kenya's economic program, supported by the standby arrangement and the standby credit facility. The Kenyan authorities have indicated that they will continue to treat both arrangements as precautionary and do not intend to draw on the SBA and SCF arrangements unless external shocks lead to an actual balance of payments need. Following the Executive Board's discussion on Kenya, the Deputy Managing Director and Acting Chair, Mr. Tao Zhang, says Kenya's economy has continued to perform well. Real GDP growth increased in 2016, inflation remains within the target range, and the current account deficit has narrowed. And staying in Africa, and of course to the markets now, the IMF approval of the completion of first review of Kenya's economic program did not help the market on Wednesday as the Nairobi Stock Exchange closed in the red. However, at intraday trading, we could see there from the figure Nigeria, South Africa and Egypt were all tilting up. Nigeria was trading up at 0.04%. JSE was up 0.05%. And of course, Egyptian Stock Exchange, which was within 12,000 markers at yesterday, was up at 13,069.40, up 1.45%. In the Middle East, markets were mostly mixed, with Saudi Arabia falling back into the negative territory at intraday. Looking at those figures there, Abu Dhabi was trading up 4,605, up 0.38%. Dubai Financial Market was up 0.62% at 3,680. Qatar Stock Exchange was of course down 0.58% at 11,064. And Saudi Arabia reversed yesterday's gain, down 0.06% at 7,128 points. In Europe, markets moved higher in morning trade, extending the bullish sentiment that took the Dow Jones Industrial Average to an all-time high. Now let's talk to Annette Wisbert, the WTV Channels TV correspondent, who is waiting to talk to us on the developments in the market there. Good afternoon, Annette. Thank you very much for joining us. Now let's begin the conversation in UK. The fourth quarter GDP data out today. What is the outlook on this backward-looking but, of course, important economic data?
Well, actually, first of all, I have to say that
well, we seem to be having issues with the audio there. But we'll move over now to the U.S. markets, where the stock index futures pointed to a higher open today after the Dow closed above 20,000 points for the first time in the previous session. Thursday will see traders eye a chunk of data and a big day of earnings. On the data front, initial jobless claims are due at 8:30 a.m. in Eastern Time, with the market services PMI data set to come out at 9:45 a.m. Eastern Time. Leading indicators and new home sales are set to be released at 10 a.m. On the earnings front, Biogen, Bristol Myers Squibb, Caterpillar, Comcast, Fiat Chrysler, and Ford are among companies set to report before the bell. Alphabet, Intel, Microsoft, PayPal, and Starbucks are among companies due to report after the bell. And looking at the stock futures there, the Dow Industrial Average is at 20,039 points, up 0.18%. S&P 500 tilting up at 2,296, up 0.9%. And of course, NASDAQ 5,159.75, up 0.26%. Japanese and Hong Kong shares were up more than 1% today, taking their cues from the Dow Jones Industrial Average, shooting past 20,000 after a volley of executive orders by President Donald Trump. Japan's Nikkei 225 climbed 1.81%. Across the Korean Strait, the Kospi gained 0.81%, while Hong Kong Hang Seng was up 1.29% by mid-afternoon. Mainland Chinese shares were high. The Shanghai Composite finished up 0.31%, and Shenzhen Composite added 0.698%. Markets in Australia, India, Taiwan, and Vietnam are closed for bank holidays. Let's quickly look at the markets here in Nigeria, talking about the Treasury market, which of course closed on a bearish note on Wednesday, with average yield expanding by 20 basis points to 18.37%. However, investor appetite remained strengthened in the bond space, with average yield contracting by 5 basis points to close at 16.87%. That was yesterday. But now let's cross over to FMDQ fixed income market for today's intraday session. Ifeanyi Akweche, fixed income dealer with Wema Bank, joins me now. Good afternoon, Ifeanyi. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
So give us a sense of what the sentiment is like today at the debt market. And considering the fact that, of course, it's 2 days after the CBN's MPC decision.
Okay. You're right in your analysis. The MA auction dropped a little bit, and for that, experienced some bullish trend in the market. But as of today, CBN has also shown that commitment to always